that was probably the first thing that got me into real estate, was just being able to know that I had the power of my own time and I could utilize that any way that I chose. Real estate really gave me the opportunity to take my time back and then also serve. So those are two things that I love mostly, is serving people and being able to, really focus on my why, which is my family. I want you all to win. You all can win. You all can do this. You just have to jump in. You got to do it. You just got to start. And so if you're thinking about investing, if you're thinking about just trying something new and diversifying, like, this is where it's at, and you're with the best people that can help you do that.
Hospitality wins every time. Like 5-star, going above and beyond wins every time. You could start in the middle of pandemic, and if you are in it to serve and to love people, like, you'll win. You'll win every time. 99% of success is showing up and staying there and keep at it. Don't quit. I've been super excited to introduce everyone to Liz, because she is what we call we called her the president of Richland Hills, which was my old neighborhood in Texas. She's just like an amazing super realtor. She has done open houses for us. She's just amazing. She's just like, and she was our neighbor, so she brought us cookies all the time. But I know a lot of people have so many questions about the real estate market right now and buying, and like, should I wait because interest rates might come down? Should I, refinance this, that? All of you guys that want to get into insurance midterm rentals. So here's Liz. Let's kind of pick her brain. First, before anything, let's tell everybody kind of, Liz, like, what got you into real estate?
Oh my goodness. I mean, the first thing I think is the freedom of time, right? Everyone wants to be able to, time is so, you can't get any more of it. You only get a certain amount each day. And so that was probably the first thing that got me into real estate, was just being able to know that I had the power of my own time and I could utilize that any way that I chose. And so real estate really gave me the opportunity to take my time back and, and then also serve. So those are two things that I love mostly, is serving people and being able to, really focus on my why, which is my family. So, for some people, it's, they want a new house, or they want a new car, or they want some, really special thing that they've been really wanting. But for me, it was just being able to pick up my son every day and stop my day at 3:30 in the middle of the afternoon, was just something that was super important to me. And so that's, being able to be in a career that I could do that and serve people and my family. That was where it started. So, yeah.
Love that. Now you guys know why I love Liz so much too. We talk about serving and hospitality and just loving on people. And that's really why we do, like, the insurance side of things, is we get to take care of people. That's our favorite part. Liz, could you share with us just like one fun, like, success story, or like, it's just like, I don't know, any cool real estate, someone you helped either sell a house or get into a house or find rental, like just any fun, inspiring, story.
Yeah. The biggest, I think I'm able to serve for sale by owners. They're the funnest ones, right? Because we're all,
that's what we like.
I know. One's a for sale by owner, right? Because we all have the ability to sell our own real estate. You don't need, I am a licensed professional, but you technically, in the state of every state, you can sell whatever real estate that you have. But the for sale by owners are really fun, because they're like, well, I'm the agent and you're the other person. And so I actually ran into a for sale by owner just by accident, driving down our street one day. Our street was busy. So I went to the street right behind us and drove down, and I saw a sign in the yard that said for sale by owner. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I know every single neighbor in this, like, within 4 blocks in front.
You do.
4 blocks like, what is going on here? Like, no. There's not going to be a for sale by owner in my neighborhood. Like, cause I feel like they're underservicing themselves, and the percentage for sale by owner is like, you get 84% less in proceeds when you are for sale by owner, just because most people don't have the skills or the knowledge to be able to negotiate the full amount that they can. they don't know how the contracts work. So things get added and they end up costing them more in the end when they don't have proper representation. So it's fun to be able to like knock, knock, knock and say, hey, and he had listed it on Zillow. So it was like a situation where, like he was just getting tons of calls and he's like, who are you? And I was like, hey, Joe, like I knew who he was, like, cause I met him at a garage sale in the neighborhood.
I
we're
love
oh
that.
yeah. So I'm like, we met when you moved into the neighborhood just 2 years ago. Why are you selling your house? Like, we met at the garage sale up the street. I'm not a stranger. I'm your neighbor. Like, so he was like, he cracked the door open just a little bit and didn't want to like talk to me. He's like, who are you? Like, because he said that brokers were just knocking on his door multiple times a day, calling him, just harassing him. And he just was really hell-bent on like trying to do it himself. And so I said, hey, like, I'm not a stranger. I'm your neighbor. Like, we met. This is all the situation. I know Edna across the street and Robert across the street and these neighbors, like, we're all friends here. I'm like, just walk 5 steps that way and you can see my house. like, I promise I'm not a stranger. And he let me into his house. He said, well, come on in. And that was such a cool story because fast forward, I just told him like, hey, I'm just here to serve you. Like, I'm not here to take anything from you. I can get you everything you want. Like, why are you not wanting to work with an agent? And so we've got through that obstacle. And within 1 week, I had his house relisted on the market properly. And within 2 days, his home was sold. And it was sold, $15,000 over asking. So with, a quick click, it's just, that was a really cool story to be able to just like,
that's so fun.
serve someone in the neighborhood, but also someone that's a for sale by owner. So I do specialize in like off market and for sale by owners just because they just don't understand why it's so important to have representation on any occurrence, right? You need to have that when you're.
Well, and I'll say too, to like the iMTR students that are watching, I'm just thinking, number one, there's a lesson to be learned there for like looking for an arbitrage in a rental. Like, don't be afraid to like talk to people in your neighborhood and find out what they actually want. Cause at the heart of that guy, he was probably just like, I want to get top dollar for my house. And if I do it with an agent, I'm going to lose 3% or whatever. And so but when you're like, hey, I can actually get you 15K over and I can actually get it done quicker and you're going to save money. It's like, it was a win. So sometimes just talking it through, you know what I mean? Like, could actually get you through that one. So,
Well, yeah. And it ended up getting him way more money than he would have ever gotten on his own. So
yeah. Totally. Well, and then the other side of that, I'm thinking it's pretty cool to think that he was willing to do for sale by owner. There's a lot of people out there right now because a lot of our iMTR community will be thinking that they don't want to buy a house right now because interest rates are so high, 7.5% and all that. But I'm also like, there's a lot of people out there that own their house outright and they'd be willing to seller finance it to you. And at like maybe a 5% interest rate or something, they're going to make way more money in the long haul and you're going to pay less. So I don't know. Is that something, do you have clients that say to you like, hey, do you have homes that are willing to seller finance? Like, is that 1 in a million or is it like 1 in 100 or what is it?
I think it's just educating them on that opportunity. I think everyone wants an investment opportunity, right? So I think it's just showing them that opportunity, just like diversifying your portfolio of investments, right? Like you don't want to just have one investment, you want to have multiple, right? And so this is just sharing with them what you can provide to them and how it works. And they're like, if it makes sense, yeah, of course I would do that. Why not? It's going to make me more money. I'm diversifying my profits here and I'm able to help someone else too in the process. But ultimately, people care about their bottom line. So if you can show them that it's going to be profitable for them, and I feel like there's plenty of people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, totally. So, and then what I'm seeing is like, I'm seeing still like if you need a home, like my brother or whatever has been renting and he's like, I need to buy something. It's kind of like for their homestead. I'm still seeing a little movement there, but for like investors like myself, I'm seeing kind of like a halt. I don't know if you're seeing that too because of interest rates.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it just depends on who you're working with. So, interest be in a 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Depending because it's an investment property. But
Right.
we're getting buyers at a 6.6 right now. So it just depends on who you're working with. Like,
Wow.
yeah, and closing
Okay.
like these. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
so it just really, you have to be working with really good people. We have a power team here at Miss LaSalle's Texas. So we make sure that we're getting people the best rates. And I have investors that are still constantly looking for property and they do look at the interest rates, but we make sure to get them a really good price. And, some of them want to be moving on things. They want 80% profit. So, which is really high. I
Yeah.
know. I
Well,
know.
what I like right now, it's really hard to find a home that you can put 20% down and with the current financing that you could still cash flow at a long-term rental, like at the long-term rental rate. But what I love about what we do is like the midterm rental thing is a whole different animal when it comes to cash flow. So that's why a lot of the people that we're kind of talking with and focusing on and helping are those long-term investors that are like, I'm making $100 a month on my properties, or I'm making like hardly anything or negative. So we're like, boom, switch it to midterm, furnish it, kind of follow the vetted homes model, and then you can get 2 times or 3 times or 4 times what people are getting for long term, but get it, pretty much year round if you kind of follow and buy in the right markets and everything. So we are telling our students, like, don't be scared to buy right now, because even if it doesn't cash flow as a long-term rental, that's not our number one priority, because we don't need it to cash flow as a long-term rental.
Right. Right. You don't, especially at that price point, you only probably needed half the amount of time. Right. And so
Exactly.
that's the investment. And who doesn't want somebody only living in their property half the year? Right. So, I mean, you don't want it to be full because then it's like the wear and tear and, people in it. If you had it at a certain price point, you won't need all of that time. And then you're able to better take care and it lasts longer. Right. It's like
Yeah.
shoes, like the less you wear them, the longer they last.
Okay, one quick example is like a house that we have in North Fort Worth, like not far from actually where you live, probably like 15 minutes away. And we were renting it for the last 3 years. Then the owner told us, oh, we're not going to be able to extend your lease. You can't arbitrage it anymore. We're going to have to sell it. And we looked at the numbers and we were like, even though we had paid, I think it was 2,500 the first year, 2,500 the second year, then they upped it to 3,000. But when we looked at the numbers on what we made, like we made netted on that house, like over $70,000 in 1 year. So I was like, I actually don't care if we pay more. So I looked into the financing, and now instead of 3,000 in rent, we're paying 4,000, but we own it because we bought it from them. And I'm like, I still don't care because I'm like literally have tenants in there right now paying 10,000. So it's just like a no-brainer. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so what advice do you have for those people that are watching that are like that have not bought a house yet as an investment and they're looking in to like what are your top tips? I know, like, I guess good schools, like what are your, like, if you want to buy a home that's going to always kind of do well and be loved, are there any things that you see that are kind of your top few things?
Yes. So the biggest things, I mean, and you're like, oh, that's so easy, but you really have to look at the schools. So the
Yeah.
schools really bring value up. Now, school ratings can change over year after year, right? I mean, I've been lived next to a school that was a 7 and then it dropped down to a 2, right? Like, I mean, it does happen. You have to be very careful, but there are areas like, I'll just talk about the Dallas DFW market, like
Yeah.
and Birdville and Colleyville and obviously Carroll ISD are one of the popular ISDs in our area. And so finding the schools that are top rated and those things add a lot of property value and continue to. So like I have clients now that we're purchasing a home. They don't have children. They're young. They're in their, 29, 30, and this is their first property and they don't care about the schools. And I'm like, no, but you need to care because eventually
Right. Same with investors. They're like, oh, I don't care. But no, you have to care.
no, you have to care because then when you rent it, right, you purchase this home and you rent it out because that's their goal is to rent it out is
Right.
have a good school, because then it's going to be easier to get people to move into because they want that school. So schools are super important. Being close to really large grocery stores, like our popular one right now are HEB. So HEB is a huge grocery store that everyone loves to be around. And HEB also, it's like, use these places to do the work for you. Like they are
Yeah.
research. They are spending millions and thousands of dollars to do the research to where they're putting their locations. Like
Yeah.
I talked to the owner at Midas on 26 in North Richland Hills, and he was like, we have people on our team that literally follow like certain things. And so it's like they have people that do it. So use that to your advantage. There's
Sure.
a nature that's opening. It already opened in Alliance. And so that like Heritage Fort Worth area. And then not a lot of people know about the one that's opening in Fort Worth, which again, that's or in Bedford. And so that area blow up, right? So
Yep.
getting like figuring out what's a good school in that area, and then or what a private school, whatever private school and whatever's close to that grocery store, people are going to flock to it. So it's just
Yeah.
natural to happen. And so you kind of want to stay like grocery stores, schools are really good. What else are really good to kind of keep in mind of being really close to highways, and then being close to airports. I have a client, he travels a lot for work. That's all he wife she's going to start her residency at a local hospitals, and then he travels a lot for work. So he wants to be within a 12-minute, 10 to 12-minute of a really, DFW airport or whatever major
Right.
airport. So there's another one in Dallas that there's like a little pocket. So if you want to talk about that later, we can, but there's a pocket over by the medical district, and I think Love Field is out there. And right there's a sweet little spot of all being turned over, and they just rezoned that whole entire area to be multifamily, which is huge. That's
Wow.
been, and that is huge, huge, huge
Wow.
for to
Okay, and
really
that's one thing I was going to talk about too, is because we focus on single family homes just because, of the insurance side of things. Most people that are in single family homes have the home insurance that would pay for them to be relocated. So I know there's areas that are blowing up that are more affordable at the moment, but that in time they will catch up. And I
right.
think that my personal, and you could like totally add to this, but is like, let's talk about DFW because that's where both of us are now. And it's blowing up. And there's a lot of people watching that are interested in Texas. So it is just the circle of DFW, kind of like Fort Worth, Dallas, is just expanding out. And what I'm seeing is like McKinney and North, all the way up to Sherman, where they're putting in billions of dollars, and
Prosper.
Fort Worth and West. So like all the way out to Weatherford.
Mhm.
I feel like is like a really great investment opportunity where you could buy a single family home still that's affordable, brand new oftentimes. Like
Willow, Weatherford, all of it. Yep.
what was the other one you said on the way to Weatherford?
Weatherford, Alito, Willow Park.
Willow Park. Yeah, I just keep hearing that one too.
So good. And it's a like best kept secret, because you literally can be in DFW within like 12 minutes, but then you go out to Willow Park and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Oh,
which you
best
wouldn't.
kept secret until now.
I know. Like, yeah. Well, because what happened is like Heritage blew up. So then Hazlitt got all consumed and it's gross and no one wants to go over there.
Right.
It shifted right back out to like Weatherford, which no one would ever go to Weatherford. And now it's like the best kept secret. And then you go up towards McKinney and like things like Prosper and Celina and like all areas are blowing up too. And then you pull back this way off of Dallas, and you've got things like DeSoto and Grand Prairie and like some of the other little tucked in little towns that way too. So it's definitely, there's little sweet spots and there's a lot of opportunities still. Yeah. And you
Okay.
have opportunity while everyone's down, right? So while everything's down and everything's tight with the interest rates, this is the time to really lean in because all those other people are leaning out.
See, that's what I'm thinking too. And I'm like, now is a good time to buy because when interest rates come down, what happens to prices of homes usually?
It's insane. You can't get anything. Were there any investors in the market when everything was going? I mean, when someone's making 20 offers on a house, there's no investors in
Right.
that. I mean, I got
Exactly.
I had multiple investors trying to, and I'm like, guys, you're not getting anything because your margins are completely different than the average buyer. So you don't want to be competing when the interest rate is super down. It's better for you to just purchase now, refinance later, or just make that money back with doing your guys' program. You're creating something way beautiful that the market doesn't even have. So just seems like a slam dunk to me. Like it makes,
Love it. Well,
yeah.
I want people to be able to find you if you're looking for a home in DFW, rentals. If you have a rental that's furnished, and Liz has clients that ask her for furnished houses. She also like sells homes all over DFW. So how can they find you? Where do they go?
Yes. So I am on Instagram and Facebook at Miss Liz Sells Texas, just MRS, and then Liz Sells Texas. I used to be a teacher for 15 years. So everyone in my whole entire life just knows me as Miss Liz. So we just kept going. And yeah, you just can find me at Miss Liz Sells Texas. It's so easy. Liz Ulate, Ulate. So but yeah, I just
She's
thank
the
you.
best. There's no one as like president status as her. I'll tell you right now. We're so
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you. We'll probably have you on again when we do like hot topics and hot
And
seats.
I want you all to win. That's what I will say. You all can win. You all can do this. And it's special for certain people. Like you just have to jump in. You got to do it. You just got to start.
Okay.
Know how it's going to go unless you start, and we hold our own selves back. And so if you're thinking about investing, if you're thinking about just trying something new and diversifying, like this is where it's at, and you're with the best people that can help you do that. So
Yeah. And you're such a testament too to like hospitality wins every time, like 5-star going above and beyond wins every time. You could start in the middle of pandemic, which is you like becoming an agent, like in the middle of when everything was nuts. And if you are in it to serve and to love people, like you'll win. You'll win every time. You'll make it through. 99% of success is showing up and staying there and keep at it. Don't quit.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
thank you so much. Talk soon. Bye.